How can you go on a business trip abroad if you don't have a job? Aren't you embarrassed to lie like that? It's not a lie. I really am going overseas for work, I said. Well, then we're getting divorced, he said and walked out of the room. To him, it seems like working from home means I'm just being lazy and not really working. But I have a steady income and even help pay for our living expenses. Still, he doesn't see it that way. A few days after I got back from my business trip, I found divorce papers on my desk, already signed by him. If he can't understand me after all this time, there's no point in staying married, is there? So I signed the papers and went to the court. My name is Kelly Clarkson, and I'm 31 years old. My husband, Eric, is 34. We started dating in college and got married when I was 26. We were more like best friends than romantic partners, always speaking our minds. Sometimes that's good, but it can lead to unexpected problems. For me, the problem started when I talked to him about my dream. I've always wanted to run an online store selling imported goods. I got the idea while working part-time at a boutique as a student. I love foreign designs and was drawn to the unique items I saw there. After college, I aimed to open my own store, so I became a full-time employee at the boutique. Even with a full-time job, I couldn't give up on my dream. I really want to have my own shop filled with my favorite foreign goods and deliver them to customers, I told him. My parents and friends were supportive, saying things like, "Good luck," and "You'll surely succeed." I thought Eric would understand and support my dream too. I tried to bring up the topic with Eric when he got home from work. "Hey Eric, you know I've been talking about opening my own shop for a while. What do you think about that?" "Oh no, not this again. It won't work if you do it just like that." "You should give up," he replied. "Why would you say that? It's not just a sudden idea. I've been thinking about it for a long time. Impossible is impossible. Life isn't as easy as you think," he said. "There's no need to be so harsh. Why do you always shut down my ideas right away?" I said, raising my voice unintentionally. Eric looked at me with cold eyes and a scornful expression. "Then tell me, what's your plan if this idea of yours doesn't succeed?" he asked. "Well, I know it won't be successful right away, but..." "And what about your income until then? We're splitting the rent and living expenses now, and you're telling me I have to cover it all." He interrupted. "No, that's not what I mean. I have some savings for the initial costs, and I'll still pay the rent." "Oh, really? Then do whatever you want. But if it doesn't work out and you regret it, it's not my problem," he concluded. Every time I talked about starting my own business, Eric always got upset. The reason was simple. He worried my income would become unstable. The import shop where I worked was in a good location, and we had a lot of customers. Because of that, my income was pretty high, almost the same as Eric's, who worked in an office. It might even be a bit higher. That's why I often paid for meals when we went out and sometimes paid a bit more for the rent. The idea of my income going down was something Eric just couldn't accept. At first, he would say things like, "Why rush things?" or "You should take your time and prepare," in a kind voice. But now, he didn't mind hurting my feelings. Even so, I didn't give up on my dream of having my own shop, no matter how much Eric was against it. I focused on making my dream come true. As a result, I overcame his objections, and at the age of 27, I started an online boutique. At first, just like Eric predicted, it was hard to get things going smoothly. But over the years, I tried all sorts of strategies. I used the advantages of an online shop by outsourcing to well-known e-commerce companies, promoting on social media, and doing everything I could to succeed. Thanks to these efforts, a year after starting my own business, things began to look up. I was able to make a steady income, expanded my customer base, and added more products. Now my yearly sales have reached $600,000. Because Eric was so against my business, I never talked about the sales. I figured he wouldn't care anyway, and he never asked. But he always reminded me about paying the rent and other living expenses. I always just gave him the money he asked for without making a big deal. I kept our conversations about work as simple and non-controversial as possible. But then, one day, something happened. I got a message on my online shop's direct messages. "I'm a regular customer of your shop. I was wondering, in addition to the international knickknacks, could you also sell furniture?" Actually, many customers had asked me to sell furniture too. But unlike small items, selling furniture online is more complicated. Furniture is more expensive, and things like the material are important. Even though I had worked in an import shop before, there are risks in buying and selling furniture without seeing it first. So I decided to call my old boss from the import shop to talk about it. "Hello, is this the manager? I have something I want to discuss with you." As soon as the manager Rachel recognized my voice, she sounded really happy. "Kelly, it's been a while. If there's anything I can help with, just let me know." Well, I've had some requests to sell furniture in my online shop. Furniture? That sounds like a big task. I was thinking of checking out the actual items before selling them. "How did you find your products, Rachel?" "I see what you mean. I can definitely help with that." Rachel, who had connections with suppliers from other countries, offered to contact one of them and arrange for them to provide furniture for my shop. Because of my good relationship with Rachel, the overseas supplier was willing to help. I decided I would travel abroad to find the furniture. However, I couldn't just leave without telling my husband. So that night, I brought up the topic with Eric. "Eric, about the week after next, would it be okay if I were away for about a week?" "A week? Why so long?" he asked. "Well, I might have to go abroad for work with Rachel from the shop I used to work at," I explained. "Abroad? If you're going to lie, at least make it believable," he said, sounding mocking. "What?" I asked, confused. He pointed at me with a mocking look on his face. "You're going overseas for work. You're almost unemployed. What are you even talking about? Wait a minute, you know I run an online shop, right?" "This trip is to find new items for the shop," I tried to explain. "So you think I'll just believe you if you say it's for work? Are you stupid? Your little shop won't get you far. Think what you want, but our sales are good and our customers are growing. This trip is because a customer requested it. I insisted. If you keep pushing, I won't allow you, practically a shut-in, to leave home for a whole week," he said, then stomped off to the bathroom with a beer in hand. A deep sigh escaped from my lips. Why can't he try to understand? His reaction is too harsh just because he doesn't approve of my work. But I can't go abroad without his permission. I need to convince him, no matter what. Even though I was nervous to bring it up again, I couldn't ignore the problem. The next day, when he came home from work, I spoke to him again. "Eric, about yesterday's discussion." "Look, I'm tired. I don't have time for your lies." He cut me off. "I'm only telling the truth. An unemployed person going on a business trip abroad." "You're good at lying," he said, mocking me again. "I'm not lying. I really have to go abroad for work," I said, grabbing his arm and pleading with him. He looked down at me, mocking me again. "Oh, really? Then liars get divorced too." "Divorced? What are you saying? I can't stand liars, especially people like you who always try to show off." "I didn't mean." "Shut up. You just want to use a lame excuse to go on a vacation abroad. I bet your boss is a man too, right? Divorce. I'll make sure to demand my share of everything, he said, storming out of the room. At that moment, a furious rage built up inside me. Who does he think he is, looking down on me like that? I work from home, but he only wants to feel superior. Enough is enough. If he wants it that way, then I'll do what I want. So I stopped asking for his permission and decided to go on my business trip abroad as planned. 3 weeks later, I went overseas with Rachel. We went straight to our suppliers in the U.S., where we checked out the furniture and accessories I would sell in my boutique. Since I was already abroad, I spent the last day sightseeing with Rachel, and we had a great time. However, it wasn't all easy. My phone was filled with angry messages from Eric. You didn't really go overseas, did you? Get back here now. I'll forgive you if you return today. Time's up. We're getting divorced, you worthless woman. Every message made me more annoyed, but I didn't reply. I knew that responding would only make things worse. When I get back, if he's willing to talk, we'll discuss it then. With that decision, I enjoyed a carefree week abroad. The business trip ended, and I said goodbye to Retel at the airport. I started my journey home. Facing Eric was awkward, but I prepared myself and opened the front door. I'm home, I called out. The house was dark, and no one greeted me. As I walked into the living room, I saw laundry scattered on the floor. Used dishes and instant noodle containers were piled up in the sink. Amid this mess, I noticed a piece of paper on the desk. What is this? I thought. It was a filled-out divorce paper. Beside it was a rough note that said, "To the cheating, jobless woman, I'm ending things with you. Fill out the divorce papers immediately. If you want forgiveness, come to my parents' house, then I'll reconsider." Just reading the note, I could imagine Eric's smug face. He probably thinks that by writing this, I'd rush to apologize. Of course, I had no intention of doing that. I signed the divorce papers that Eric had left for me and went straight to the state court. Everything went smoothly, and the divorce was accepted without any problems. After that, I went to a real estate agent to cancel my lease on the apartment. This apartment was where I lived when I was single. When Eric and I decided to live together, he moved in because it was spacious enough for both of us. We had talked about moving to a bigger place if we had kids, but now that wasn't going to happen. Once I finished canceling the lease, I went back to the apartment and immediately started packing my things. The next day, I arranged for my belongings to be sent to my parents' house. I also made arrangements to have Eric's things sent to his parents' house. During this time, Eric kept sending me messages full of angry demands and accusations. Stop being stubborn and come apologize now. You have until the end of the week, and messages like that. I ignored all of them. I continued to pack and send everything from the apartment, both mine and Eric's, to our respective parents' homes. After the apartment was empty, I went back to my parents' home. A week later, my phone kept ringing nonstop. Even though I ignored it, the calls wouldn't stop. So I decided to answer the phone, planning for this to be the last time I talked to him. I pressed the answer button. "Hello." Immediately, Eric started shouting. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" Surprised by his loud voice, I pulled my phone away from my ear. I decided to record the call just in case something happened. Then I spoke again. "What's the big deal? There's nothing left to talk about. Don't mess with me. Why were all my things sent to my parents' house? I just got to the apartment, and it's completely empty." "Oh, that? Well, I canceled the lease on the apartment, so I sent your things to your parents' house." "What? You didn't even talk to me about this," he yelled. "There was no need. You were so sure about the divorce, so I made my own plans. I didn't think you would want to stay in the apartment that was under my name, I explained calmly. You had no right to touch my things. He shouted angrily. Actually, I did. You left the divorce papers and made it clear you wanted out. I just took care of the rest, I replied. Eric was silent for a moment, probably thinking about what to say next. Then he finally spoke again. You're just trying to make yourself look good. You always do this. You never cared about what I wanted. Eric, you called me a cheating, jobless woman. You wanted a divorce and didn't care to talk things through. Now I made the changes you wanted. There's no point in dragging this out, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Dragging this out? You moved all my stuff without my permission. You didn't even give me a chance to decide. He raged on. You had a chance. You chose to end things abruptly and left me with no choice but to take action. You said you couldn't stand me and wanted a divorce, so I took care of everything, I responded. Eric was silent for a moment, probably thinking about what to say next. Then he finally spoke again. You're just trying to make yourself look good. You always do this. You never cared about what I wanted. I took a deep breath and said, Eric, I've always tried to be understanding and support you, but you made it clear you didn't respect me or my work. I'm not going to argue about this anymore. The decision is final. What about all the memories? What about everything we shared? He asked, his voice softer now. Memories are just that. Memories. We can't live in the past. You made a choice, and now we have to move forward. I wish you the best, but I'm moving on, I replied, trying to stay strong. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. Then Eric finally said, Fine. Do whatever you want, but don't expect me to come crawling back to you. I don't. Goodbye, Eric, I said and hung up the phone. I felt a mix of relief and sadness wash over me. It wasn't easy to end things this way, but I knew it was the right decision. I took a deep breath and looked around my parents' house, feeling a sense of comfort and support. It was time to start a new chapter in my life, free from the negativity that had held me back for so long. I canceled the lease, so I had to move everything out. What? Canceled? How could you do something like that on your own? Eric shouted, sounding shocked and angry. The apartment was in my name. I can do whatever I want with it, I said calmly. At this point, I had nothing left to lose. His words didn't affect me at all, and I responded in a defiant tone. Eric's irritation was evident on his face. Don't mess with me. I don't care about the lease. We were married, remember? I lived in that apartment too, and you just went ahead and canceled it without even talking to me. Married, yes. But whether you think I cheated or not, we're still married. Canceling the lease on our apartment without discussing it with your husband. What were you thinking? You think you can just do whatever you want even though you're unemployed. I'll never forgive you for this. He continued to yell, showing no regard for my feelings or my situation. His rant made it clear he didn't care about me or my perspective at all, so I decided to tell them the truth. Sorry to burst your bubble, but you're getting all worked up about not forgiving me. And we're not even married anymore, okay? I said, trying to keep my voice calm. What? What are you talking about? Eric looked confused and angry. I submitted the divorce papers you left behind, so we're strangers now. Why should I keep renting a place for a stranger? Hold on, you're joking, right? You're basically unemployed. You'd be in trouble without me, he said, trying to sound like he was still in control of the situation. Don't make me laugh. When did I ever say that? I replied, feeling a mixture of frustration and relief. Eric was caught off guard and didn't know what to say. He stammered, trying to find the right words. Taking the opportunity to release my pent-up frustration, I continued. You've looked down on me all this time. I'm not the unemployed or jobless person you think I am. I didn't cheat on you. I was traveling abroad for work to find products for my customers. If you can't believe that, fine. But just so you know, I'll never forgive you. Well, wait a minute. Your online store, it's not like sales can just go up like that, he said, still trying to argue. I've been working hard for the past 5 years. You don't know anything about what I do, and you didn't even try to understand. You kept making assumptions and treating me like I was worthless. 5 years? He asked, clearly surprised. Yes, 5 years. Just so you know, I've been making many times more money than you. You looked down on me and belittled me. I don't want a marriage like this. You can live a miserable life on your own for all I care. Eric stood there speechless. He didn't know how to respond. I could see the realization starting to dawn on him that he had been wrong about me all along. But it was too late for regrets. You've always tried to make me feel small and unimportant. I continued, feeling a weight lifting off my shoulders as I spoke. You never supported me or my dreams. All you cared about was being in control and making yourself feel superior. Wait, let's talk about this, he finally said, his voice softer now. I didn't realize how serious you were. It's too late for that, Eric. You made your choice when you left those divorce papers and decided to treat me like I didn't matter. I'm moving on and I'm not looking back. But we were married. We have a history, he said, still trying to hold on to something. History is just that. History. We can't live in the past. You made it clear you didn't respect me or value our relationship. I'm done trying to make things work with someone who doesn't care about me. Eric looked like he wanted to say something, but he didn't. He just stood there, looking defeated and unsure of what to do next. I felt a sense of closure, knowing that I had finally stood up for myself and made a decision that was best for me. Goodbye, Eric, I said, hurrying to leave. I hope you find whatever it is you're looking for, but I won't be a part of it. As I walked away, I felt a mixture of relief and sadness. It wasn't easy to end things this way, but I knew it was the right decision. I had finally taken control of my life and my future. It was time to start a new chapter, free from the negativity and control that had held me back for so long. I took a deep breath and looked forward to the new opportunities and challenges that lay ahead, feeling stronger and more confident than ever before. I hung up the phone, deleted Eric's contact information, and blocked all ways for him to get in touch with me. It seemed he finally realized how many people were using my online store and how successful I had become. He even heard about my success through mutual friends. One day, he showed up at my parents' house, but I had no desire to see him or talk to him anymore. My dad turned him away at the door. Apparently, Eric's own parents found out about how badly he treated me and kicked him out of their house. Now I heard he is renting an apartment near his job and spends his time just going back and forth between home and work alone. As for me, I decided to stay with my parents for a while. Thanks to my job, I can work from anywhere, and that is a real blessing. My parents' house is quite old and needs some fixing up, so I am planning to start renovations soon. I'm confident that my online store will continue to grow and thrive. Living at my parents' house gives me the freedom to focus on my business without worrying about anyone else. I can travel abroad whenever I need to find new products for my store. Even though I now have a divorce on my record, I don't regret choosing to follow my dreams over staying in a toxic marriage. I plan to keep working hard and repay the kindness of the people who have supported me along the way. Every day, I get to work in a peaceful environment, free from the negativity that used to surround me. I can finally concentrate on expanding my business and exploring new opportunities. My parents have been incredibly supportive, and their encouragement has been a huge help. I'm planning to use some of the money I've earned from my store to renovate their house and make it more comfortable for them. The online store is doing great. I've expanded my product range and attracted more customers, which has helped increase sales significantly. I'm excited about the future and all the possibilities that lie ahead. Without the burden of a controlling partner, I feel more empowered and ready to take on new challenges. I've also reconnected with old friends who have been supportive and encouraging. They're happy to see me doing well and pursuing my passions. It's been refreshing to spend time with people who genuinely care about me and my happiness. Traveling has become a big part of my life now. I often go abroad to find unique products for my store. These trips have not only helped my business, but also allowed me to see the world and experience new cultures. It's something I always dreamed of doing, and now it's a reality. Looking back, I realize how important it was to put myself and my dreams first. Staying in a relationship that didn't support my goals would have only held me back. The decision to move on wasn't easy, but it was the best thing I could have done for myself. I'm proud of the progress I've made and the person I've become. The road ahead is full of potential, and I'm eager to see where it takes me. My focus now is on growing my business, taking care of my parents, and enjoying the freedom to live life on my own terms. I'm excited about the future and grateful for the opportunities that lie ahead.